Good morning, everybody. My name is Simon Theophilus. After looking at renewable energy and waste management, we decided to take you on an exciting journey. We'll be looking at reforestation.
As we all know, Namibia is a semi-arid country. As such, we do not have much trees. However, we are privileged with some very good trees in the north of the country.
Do you know that in Namibia, approximately 8.9% of our land is forested? This represents 7,290,000 hectares of trees.
But we are unfortunately cutting down our trees, depleting forests and not planting them back. But did you know that trees are really important?
Namibia recognizes that reforestation, agroforestry, and urban forestry are key emissions reduction strategies. As we know, Namibia has adopted new nationally determined contributions. Our NDC has 4 pillars. Today, we will continue to learn what Namibia is doing and intends to do with the Afolu sector. It stands for agriculture, forestry, and other land use. Today, we will focus particularly on forestry.
So 8.9% of Namibia is forested. This is not a lot, and we know that most of our trees are close to rivers and areas with water. Many of our tree species are protected. However, sadly, people cut down trees, including protected trees, when their wood has value.
I'm in the Kavango region, and guess what? I came across this beautiful tree, the rosewood. People are still cutting it down illegally, although the government has put a ban on it. In the northern part of Namibia, its little red berries are used as soup. In factories, its planks are pink, which are used for furniture. This machine loads up the rosewood tree. As you can see, it's huge, it's enormous.
So I'm from Kavango. I grew up from here, and I was one of them to cut the trees. These trees, they are not cut like cleaning up. They have been selected, the quality ones which matured, and then that one they can cut.
Illegal harvesting is everywhere in Kavango region. So there is people who want to do this self-enrichment. So they want to cut down trees, transport them by night. So this is happening.
If you find, even if they can escort you to the farm where they cut, you won't see that they've been cut because it's scattered, not on one place. People can cut very much, maybe those who are making communal lands for maize, those ones they cut much than this one for commercial.
Tani Guava, Mausidi, Hambra Mausidi, Unenambai, Hambra Wembeza, Pitamba, Rugan, Saunenambai, Varan, Sambara, Cochen, and the Kupina, Mausi, Maraunena, Toya, Rugan, Sambra, Unena.
This tree was cut at the time when we had a mission by the farmers, small farmers, just to upgrade their farms so that they can have a manageable to have a borehole and so forth, and even fencing them. And then nowadays, it was just banned. This stayed now here for 4 years. Yeah, and then people, some of them, they're still cutting. Due of economic and crisis, you see, people, they want finance for survival. We thought of replanting them because this tree, that they are in 3 types. This one we see behind us, it is a rosewood. We got a teak. We have got also teak. And we have got kiat. Kiat is very easy to plant. You can replant it any time in any place. But teak, you cannot plant it. It take too long to grow. A rose can grow, but very slow.
This is one of the machines that are used to cut down the rosewood tree. As you can see, it shapes the different sizes. You can shape them into blocks or planks.
Yes, this forest has been here since 1978-79, when they were planted by the forestry. This has been intentional for telephone poles. It was not easy to get poles from South Africa, and they used also for fencing. Just as you see the stuff now, this level, they have been harvested twice. Then after that, now community also started now coming in and cutting for uncontrollable now. The community harvesting it also for them to go and build their own shack dwellers, more especially. When they want to build their shack dwellers, they are using this kind of this wood with these zincs. The best supposed to be, this wood if can grow we can use it for more purposes, which is better than using it now. Using it now, it is like wasting.
Our NDC wants to tackle the problem from two fronts. Number one is to reduce deforestation, and number two is to increase the replanting of trees.
Here is the Rundu floodplain and the side of the river. And here is where people digging sand for construction and for brick-making purposes. Now this area is under the town council, but this activity is illegal. It's illegal mining, yes. First of all, in the Rundu, we don't have bylaws. If you don't have bylaws in the town like Rundu, it becomes a problem because anybody here you can dig and go because there's nothing restrict you. The only way to number one is to give people education. Why is it important for you to look after the environment? If you can see it yourself now, it was a flat area where we are standing here now. This area was almost the same. There was trees here, there was grass here, but when people starting now of digging this sand, it's a result they took all the good sand under, and as a result, erosion take place. And this area here, with this water standing here for almost a period of time, is a result of malaria. It become a mosquito breedings here. We foresee the river flowing here. We have a very good sand in the river. And our river is becoming also a problem because it's getting shallow. All the sand erosion gas get in. The alternatively is to dig sand, to pump sand from the river. So that because we have the best sand actually in Kavango River.
So the illegal cutting of trees is a problem because we are cutting trees that take many years to grow back and we are decreasing our resources. Illegal sand mining is equally a serious problem. When you take away the sand, you also cut the trees that were in the area. It leads to land degradation. The soil that was good is now gone and nothing can grow there anymore.
To address this problem, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism has established orchards and nurseries. Orchards are placed with grown-up trees where seeds can be harvested. Those seeds are then given to nurseries to grow seedlings. Seedlings are developing out of a plant embryo from a seed. It is a very fragile state in the life of a tree. Once the seedlings grow in young trees, they can then be planted back into nature in our schools, communities, and our homes.
We established new nurseries everywhere in each and every region. We have tree seedlings, and we produce seedlings in thousands and hundreds in numbers. Then we invite the public members to come and buy the seedlings at a very subsidized prices of seedlings.
Here is where we produce our seedlings. We grow them here, and as you see all over here, there is only young seedlings, and this is coming. It's a production.
This is a nursery whereby we plant indigenous trees and exotic trees. We also have some shade trees, fruit trees. Yeah. When we talk about exotic, it's the trees that are not originally growing in our country. So like all the fruits, the mangoes, the guavas. And when we talk about our indigenous trees, it's our own trees that grows in our country. Like here we have the Acacia galpini.
This we call them, it's seed bed. We grow them here, and as you see, this is young seedlings. Yeah.
So here we produce the seedlings for the purpose of selling. We sell to the community. Each tree here is $10, and then we also produce the seedlings for our research trials. We have different research trials. These trees are important to the environment because some of them, like the acacia leaves, they are very rich in nitrogen fixing. they fix the nitrogen in the soil. Like here we have the Mangifera indica. This is just a mango tree.
The purpose of this shade is to protect the young seedling not to be vandalized by even animals, even cats, dogs, or etc., etc. They are not allowed to come here. That's why you see we fence it.
Once we see that the seedlings are ready to be sold, we take them out of the hothouse, and then we take them to our shade net behind there, so that they will be hardened off. Here we have a 40% shade net whereby the sunlight is coming through, and then we normally limit the watering so that the trees will get stronger and survive the harsh condition of the field.
And after they grow, we take them outside.
And then we have some guava here on your right side, the guava trees. When you talk about our own indigenous, most of our indigenous trees, they grow very slow. Yes, and then the exotic trees, they grow faster.
The aim of planting the trees is to promote the trees in community forestry.
It is very necessary for them to plant the fruit trees because they will improve their livelihoods, being it that they will consume or they will sell the fruits for them to get an income.
These trees, we are actually producing them in the nursery. As you are saying, you just came from the nursery. There is where we are producing the seedlings, the young ones, and then we bring them here. We plant them here. So this is the place now where they are growing. The main purpose of this orchard is to produce seeds for forestry. So it's the source of seeds. We harvest the seeds from here, and then we take them to the nurseries. We sow and then produce another seedlings. We have anna tree here. It's an acacia species. The main purpose of having this big tree, it's good in improving the fertility, the soil fertility. So as we have other trees, meaning they will benefit because the soil will be nicely fertile. We have zizifuse there.
Oh, the red one.
No. They are nice and very.
The red ones are actually
they are
sweet.
very high in vitamin C. Trees, they are main source of oxygen. As for now, you hear the oxygen is in demand due to corona. So this is the main source of oxygen. And then it can also provide us shade. It's good for food security. What we do, we just produce more seedlings, and then we take them to the field, we replant, we rehabilitate those places which are being deforested. It's only if there could be support whereby the nurseries are being equipped with all the materials which they need to produce more seedlings, and then we supply as much as we can to the public. Because at the government nursery, we are selling at the subsidized prices. So if we have that higher capacity of seedling production, meaning the public will be satisfied with seedlings they need.
Community forest management is guided by the principles of sustainable management, not to deplete but to maintain and improve the resource base and of sharing benefits among all local residents. Hence, a community forest empowers local people to take responsibility and to become actively involved in forest management, thereby increasing the value and benefits of forest resources to local people.
Community forest is just a forest for the community. So it's a forest that was gazetted in 2006 so that the community themselves, they can look it after it, and also they can get benefit out of it.
Now we count that here in our community forestry. That is our community forestry. Our community forestry is 15,000 hectares around in the community. Chikuhoro kange tena simu atete sione nangwende uguva ngwante mautete kuteta kamtai inge makuna ukatapika.
There is a management plan. We do the inventory to count trees. So on counting trees, when we do the inventory through the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Tourism, so there the ministry has to issue us a management plan, how we can manage the forest. Like we are given the number of trees which we can cut for commercial purpose and for own use. In that way, that is the way which we are encouraging people to look after the forest. When there is only 10, you cannot cut more than 10. You have to cut only 10.
Mara simpe yakatpasi vantu simpe kavaka simpe no amba unene udi ambara useso yakatpasi simpe papumba irongolo kuni katpasi te watate te sisi wakona kustapika.
By doing the patrol, so that we can reduce the illegal harvesting for those who are doing illegal things. If we count them, we have to report them to the judicial authority or maybe to the police for them to arrest them, also to give them fine. Right now, like the time where we are now today, we are not harvesting because of the changing of the programs. Like the Minister of Environment, they only want every community for those who want to do the harvesting. So we have to get first the environmental clearance certificate. Once you get the certificate, that will allow you to do the harvesting.
Ya mara nguhambara kwetu kwa mara pulsiro kwake no premeta hambara kubana farama. Oseka batu pe block point nikesi twara nasema usikwati twara ndesa. Yakatpasi vantu hambara kwa nikesi amba illegal harvesting that ngama vakatupichi.
It's ours today. We have to look it after it. It's not ours only, but also for those who are coming for the near future. When we look it nice, when we manage nice, for those who are coming, our grandchildren and grandchildren, so that they will get it and use it again the same as we are using it today. If we cut a lot of trees down, so it will affect us. We will not get the good rain as we used to have. We will have dry land, some insect, they will run away, even the soil, it will be destroyed because there is no trees or maybe there is no bushes. So it's good when you look after the forest, it's good also for environment.
Namibia's forest areas are part of Southern Africa's Miombo's woodlands. They are not dense forests, but aggregations of woodlands and bush. They are ecologically important for carbon storage, for their capacity to retain soil and prevent erosion, and for the wealth of biodiversity they contain or are host to. Forests are also an economic resource for containing timber and other plants.
It is very important to know that forest is a bigger population of many trees. So it's important to have as many trees as we can, because within that forest, we do not only have trees as a part of that ecosystem, but the forest also is a home of other plants like grass or climbers or any other plants. They can also grow within that forest. To establish a forest or to plant trees, it depends on different factors. And those factors that influence the trees are the ones that may be either absent or not enough, and they make you now to do more effort so that you can either promote those factors to be there, or to get more trees that can fit in that particular environment. It is very difficult to plant trees anyway. So either you can only do that when you bring the trees, you bring water to the trees, and that you can do it. And also sometimes appropriate soils. You find that at some of our places where trees are not growing naturally is because there are some factors that such as the pH of the soil, the saltiness or salinity of the soil. Sometimes our soils are too salty and the trees may not grow there. And where the soil is fine, there's no water. And that's why it is important that maybe where we have a good soil, you bring water and then you grow trees.
So in short, we reforest when we plant trees in a forest. For example, we have cut trees in a given area where trees normally grow. To compensate this loss of trees, we replant new trees. On the other hand, we afforest when we plant new trees in a new place, an area that is not naturally a forest. We create a new forested area from scratch.
Before we planted the olive trees, we were pumping water just to release some pressure from the tanks. Yes. And then we noticed some little green plants growing, and we're like, there is actually life in the desert, you know.
And as you can see already, we have flowers here. You might be surprised how come these babies are having flowers already. But these are actually grafted trees, so it's a mixture of two trees that are actually joined at the bottom there. With what is called a rootstock and the top part, which is actually gotten from a mature tree. So in nature, you would probably want to plant the seed and then let it grow until it matures. But because we are able to take the mature part and graft it onto a rootstock or a part of the tree, and that mature part, because this plant doesn't think, it will still think, I'm still mature, yet it's so young. So in fact, we can actually start harvesting now, but because it's still very young, we need it to grow to be, you can see we are still supporting it. We let it grow for about 2 to 3 years, and then we can now allow it to continue with these flowers. So we actually have to come and pluck out these flowers so that our young adult does not overburden itself with having babies when they are not yet able to support themselves. We actually make sure that we have a dripper that is on each plant, which drips in and gives each tree precisely the same amount of water that it would require only for its growth. So this way, we also save in terms of how long our machine can be running, because we don't have to waste the water applying it into other areas.
But planting trees cannot be the only solution. We need to maintain our forests. If we do not maintain these forests, some species will definitely take over. This is called bush encroachment, and it is detrimental to the well-being of our savannas and forests.
Bush encroachment is the invasive species that, let me say just species, or these species that are growing in a place that are not needed. We have this right one here. We have the Acacia nilotica. The reason why you say it is encroaching, it's because the tree need to have a canopy which give the light and then the rain to the ground. And also, for you to control it, you need to open up the space for the animal to move and also to create the spacing inside. So, but now as you can see this one, the twins are intertwins. And then so animal cannot even move that going that side. So there's no grazing grasses as you can see. It's only the unwanted weed that is there.
Bush thickening and the associated negative impact on the productivity of farmland in Namibia is widely documented and recognized as a major problem within the agricultural industry.
This is what we don't want in Namibia, because the cattle and everything in the farms, they cannot be able to eat their grasses there. This is what we want to help the farmers to do.
This is one of the problem tree, but you can only cut it because there is a problem with these guys is shallow roots. And then you won't find anything else like the trees, whatever, under him, especially when you find it on the ground there. So that's why this has become a problem tree, and the animal, especially sheep, cannot even go through because of the thorns. So it's not accessible. But here, as you can see, is on the rocky side. Anything that is on the mountain, on the rocky side, on the anthill, on whatever, everything, you don't touch. because that is a protected area.
And we are also contributing that because our producers, our farmers that is making charcoal to us, they are also helping the environment so that in this case, like fire, if a fire came, it will only come to that place where the grass is, not to the place where there is too much trees.
We have actually seen a rise in different fires. We categorize fires in different categories. That's in terms of elements that are burning. We have building or house fires, and then you have your vehicle fires, and then we also look at veld fires. So in terms of veld fires, we have seen an increase, and it's concerning actually. We're trying to change the strategy in how we mitigate fires. So instead of waiting for the fires to occur, we now look at fire prevention, which we go out to communities. We have different strategies. We go out to communities, we speak to the communities, and we give them different fire safety tips. When we look at climate change in terms of temperature increase, we are all aware that Namibia is one of those countries where the temperature is very high. So the increase in temperature coupled with the significant amount of rain that we received, especially last year, our vegetation is very thick. So as for now, the vegetation is as dry as it can get. And when you have thick vegetation, dry vegetation with strong wind, as soon as there's an ignition source, the fire can spread very rapidly.
Severe drought combined with overgrazing can result in unnatural dense bushveld growth and not indicative of the natural ecosystem. The thinning out of this dense bushveld allows farmers to improve rangelands and returns to the ecosystem to a more heterogeneous state. Farmers harvest only the invasive species in accordance with the Forest Stewardship Council approved management plan to ensure the process remains environmentally sustainable.
We have the Forest Act and then the permit condition that we are giving them. What we do before they come, we go and do the assessment, the inspections. So we see if the person is having the right amount of resources, and then we educate them on which tree to whatever to cut, and then there is a limitation. Like for example, any tree that is bigger than 18 centimeters, like the size of your hand like this, you may not cut because that one does not have an impact on the debushing.
We don't make charcoal here. We buy charcoal from local farmers around Oganja. So when the truck comes in, it goes through our weighbridge, then it's coming here to the offloading site. Our industry contributes to the environment because we must buy charcoal from them. They are cutting trees in their farms, and we support them by buying charcoal from them, and they support us by selling their charcoal to us.
So they are turning the bush. Although it's a problem, they're turning the bush into the product, which is charcoal production. They're creating employment, so you bring people to harvest with a controlled one, of course, not just removing everything. Using the manual labor, you employ people, they cut that one, they turn it into a product that you can use later.
We are also contributing to the environment whereby we train those burners how to cut so that they can make also space for the animals to grazing well.
When the farmer first comes to approach us, the first thing that he need a harvesting permit. That is the one that will allow him to start debushing. So it has conditions that are stipulated here, and then these are the conditions that he has to adhere to, and these are the conditions that also appear under the FSC regulations.
Namibia is a land of savannas with some forest. We need to look after our environment. We need to respect plants and trees, and wherever possible, actually plant more trees.
What we're supposed to have to do here is to do rehabilitation.
We need tree in our life because we are breathing air from the trees.
The law enforcement, they have to do their job. The community, they have to do their job. So we help one another and we collaborate. So we work together so that we can catch these people who are doing illegal things. So find them so that they will stop the illegal harvesting trees.
The people who are digging they must be responsible to see for it that they must repair what they have damaged.
In the coming years, we really want to put emphasis to give seedlings to the people, either at a minimal contribution really, but we want just to contribute for the people to contribute when they get trees at their homestead.
We are going to cause a change in the biodiversity. That is because we are going to expose a lot of grazing land or a lot of grass, a lot of forest to fires.
And of course, our nationally determined contribution is ambitious. Government wants to reduce deforestation by 75% by 2030, reforest 20,000 hectares per year, and plant 10,000 hectares of trees per year.
We also want to restore 15.5 million of hectares of grassland savanna and soil carbon by 2030 and reduce the removal of wood by 60% and afforest 5,000 hectares per year.
Remember, green is the way forward. So while you think of it, from me, Simon,
and from me, Tasani,
and from me, Samantha,
it's goodbye.